we're basically asking, like, can you help me? Can you heal me? Can you help me find my place? Can you show me the way? Because they already know it. They have been there. They've walked it. They've seen it. They do it every single day. We, as human beings, have lost that. As I start reconnecting with them, I start to feel those, like, that reconnection with myself. The reconnection with the earth, with life in general, because, like, it's like the simplicity of things. We complicate stuff so much, which we don't have to do. And horses are so simple. Like, horses they
Yeah.
don't do that. They're like, oh, I'm struggling. Well, let me pick you up. Let me make you, like, let me help you get to the next point. Let me make sure that you're feeling good or that you're better. If you're not, let me sit with you and make sure that you're, like, you're getting better. Physical restrictions are usually because things are bound up in the body, whether it be through trauma or, like, car accident. It's all held within the muscle. So we're releasing that muscle, releasing that area, the tension. You're releasing that emotional boundness to that area as well.
There are healers on this planet with the power to soften the suffering of mankind, yet they have remained in the recesses of the world, abused, discarded, and labeled as trash. This is The Touch of a Mustang. I am your host, Shalise Clough, and I'm here to tell the story of wild horses, Mustangs, and the humans who are discovering and sharing their gifts while working to protect their well-being and preserve their spirit, so this divine power won't be lost. Join us on this quest with the Wild Mustang.
So I've been doing regular massage therapy, like, for people for, like, almost 30 years. Just doing massage, medical and rehabilitation massage, Qi Gong, Reiki, a ton of different modalities to help people, like, heal and be stronger within themselves. I met Dave and Kathy at least 12 years ago or so, up here in Connecticut, and then have stayed connected and been friends, since. They've also been encouraging me to move down south for a very
Trying
long
to get you
time.
down there.
Yes, which I'm not opposed to. Being Connecticut is not, like, without its challenges. And, like I said, been doing massage for a long time. Was raised with horses since I was a child, like, since I was born. There's a couple different stories where my uncle had found me in the middle of a horse field.
Oh, wow.
They were looking over for me and couldn't find me, and they found me surrounded by, like, in a circle of horses, just me sitting in the middle of them. When I was about 3 years old. And then shortly after that, riding on the back of a Mustang, where my cousin was leading him, and I had fallen off and she hadn't noticed. And she was, I guess she was, like, pulling the horse to try to get him to move, and the horse wouldn't do it because I was, like, right under him, and he's like, nope, not doing it. My father ran out of the house, because he saw me, grab me and everything. What I took from that whole thing was, like, I was underneath this horse. It wasn't like he was not moving at all
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that I was still safe as a child. And so I had felt this, like, really huge connection to Mustangs since then.
Wow.
But then as life goes on, you kind of, like, get away from things. And so we got into massage and did about 30 years of that, with working with people and healing them and getting them to, where they need to be strong and functional. My daughter got into riding at Little Treasures Horse Farm in Chaplin. I was just there one day, and the owner asked me to work on her horse Rose. I was having, like, this. She had like this really traumatic situation where she was attacked by a large cat in the mud, and she, like, couldn't get out, and, like, so there's, like, this whole right side hip problems, and she had no like, good circulation in that leg, to the point where, like, even down to her hoof, it was ice cold to the touch. So when I was there, she doing some massage therapist, like, "Can you take a look at it?" I'm like, "Well, I don't work on horses." So, but I'll take a
Mhm.
look. Um,
Mhm.
so did 3 sessions with her, just doing like friction and stuff. She had, full, this is like a long story short, but, she ended up getting, full circulation back into that whole part of her leg, where she had had years of other people coming in looking at the same area and had no progress with them at all.
Wow.
So she encouraged me to go to like start, um, taking classes and stuff into doing, work with horses, massage and stuff like doing exercise, um, and then going like working with like Chris Irwin and looking at Monty Roberts and all these other people that do these, different modalities, and then just taking my own knowledge with stuff and going from there. So, and then integrating that with working with, people riding the horses, working with farriers, just kind of progressed from there,
Mhm.
with like the whole like human horse connection. So,
Yeah. How was
yeah.
that with the first horse that you worked on? Were you just could you kind of feel the places you need
Yeah.
to work on the same as you would with a human? What was that
Um,
transfer like, I guess, from human to equine?
yeah, yeah. I mean, kind of, yeah, I was saying yes, for that because it's intuition plus it's knowledge plus it's, you know, being able to palpate the area plus it's, is a lot of different things that go into it. But when she told me like the things that happened and, to the horse and how she's feeling, I literally put my hand on her like lower leg. Well, it's ice cold. Like this shouldn't feel like this. So I, palpated it back up, came back down. I was like, okay, we just need to do like, some like really good, hard, like deep friction. And I know there's a lot of people out there say you shouldn't really do a lot of deep work with horses, especially right off the bat. But with working with people too, if you're not getting into the area and like, bring them to the point where they can heal and function, then you're not really
Mhm.
doing them any good. So
Yeah.
I got in there, like just really worked like cross right, like it's probably 3 sessions, about 20, like 15 to 20 minutes at each one. And by the third one, she had, complete blood flow in there. Even the farrier said about like a month after I'd done that, she was getting growth back into her hoof. So, I mean,
Wow.
I don't like, I can't say I didn't do anything wrong with that. So, um, but, then I needed to get more knowledge. And you just keep going,
Yeah.
going, going, and getting more and more
Right.
and more to do it. Like even though I have 30 years of knowledge with working with people, I can integrate it in that with working with horses. You still want to know more.
So, now you are working on people and horses, is that right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
what has that experience been like, kind of integrating the 2 and coming back into the horse world that you've definitely had some pretty incredible experiences in when you were very young?
It's actually been incredible again because, um, getting back into working with the horses, especially at the age I am, like so I'm 53 now. So getting back working with them now, and having a lot of traumas in addition, like struggles with that kind of stuff too. Um, Getting more involved with them and having that connection with them, having their understanding, their forgiveness, their like their soulfulness,
Yeah.
is very healing to me. Like working with them like as much as I can, like every day, like whatever every time opportunity I get. Um, no matter what I have going on in my life, like the struggles, the stresses, you know, the bullshit of life, right? You get like you get with them, it goes away. And I mean, it's not saying like there's times where they're not pushing back at you because you're not dealing with your stuff. Because there are times definitely when I've worked with horses and I'm like, I'm not in like the right frame of mind or I'm not like ready to deal with stuff or I'm like totally blocked off. And they let me know because they're pushing back at me. They're not like even though I'm like talking to them the right, like with the right horse language to them, they're like, nope, you're not doing the right thing. So they're telling me like, you need to let go of this. You need to breathe. You need to connect because they do breathe. They do connect to the earth. They do have a connection to everything else around them. Like they feel the breeze in the air. They smell the smells of the grass and the trees and the stuff that's going on. Everything they do is connected to the world and to like not to our world, but to the natural world. And when we don't connect to that, and I feel like the same way, like dealing with like struggling with traumas and addictions, if I'm not connecting to the natural world, I'm struggling. So I appreciate everything that they give me all the time. You can, see pictures um, of me working with them, that I'm just working and people are just taking pictures and posting them, um, where like, I'm giving myself to them. I'm not asking them for anything. I'm asking them to help me. And I think that's where the the whole, the horse mental health comes in. We're basically asking, like, can you help me? Can you heal me? Can you help me find my place? Can you show me the way? Because they already know it. They have been there, they've walked it, they've seen it, they do it every single day. We as human beings have lost that and we don't necessarily do that anymore. So that human horse connection thing is like, if you're not connecting to the horse and the horse is connected to the human, then you're not really experiencing the whole healing process of what you could be having, what you could be experiencing.
Yeah, I think that's very well said because we do talk a lot about the phrase like how horses can heal us and whatnot. And it's really not that they're necessarily doing anything except existing
Right.
in their world and letting
Yeah.
us come into that world and leave our world for a little bit. And,
Right.
all of those things you've mentioned, I'm like, oh, yep, yep. That one resonates.
Right.
Um, and these are all things that the horses have done for you just in your time working on them in a massage capacity.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Because I hadn't worked with them for so long. It's been definitely over 40 years since I've been in any kind of like real work with the horse. Like taking horses out, I've ridden them, like, gone, you know, to horse farms, like where they're like, they took in ride, take on trail rides and stuff where it's just
Hmm.
the horses just like, they're just trained to walk that, which is
Yeah.
awful. Um, Knowing now what I know, I think that's an
Yeah.
awful experience for me because they're just, they're they've lost who they are. Like their horses don't have any idea who they are anymore in those situations.
Yeah. And a
Um,
very artificial experience with horses
right.
compared to all that they can offer.
Yeah, like they're automatons basically. They're just
Hmm.
like going through like, oh, I walk here, I walk there, I get fat, I go to bed and whatever.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. Um,
Kind of like a lot of us,
yeah,
to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah, which is a shame too. Um,
Right.
yeah, but yeah, so like been that long between as I start reconnecting with them, that's when I start to feel those like that reconnection with myself.
Mm,
Um, the reconnection with the earth, with life in general, because like it's like the simplicity of things.
mm,
Because we complicate stuff so much,
yeah.
which we don't have to do. And horses are so simple. Like they're like, they're complex in their own world, right? But they're certain ways that they talk to each other and their statute of stuff, right? Like who's the leader, who's not, or whatever. Um,
Hmm.
the pecking order of things.
Yeah.
Um, but they're also, you know, looking out for one another. Like
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I'm showing you, I'm your boss. Like I'm the stallion, right? I'm the top, and like that trickle down. I'm gonna make sure you guys are okay, and then this person's gonna make sure that that person's okay, and down, 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 all the way down. Like they're making sure they're looking out for each other all the time. Um, as people, we don't do that necessarily. Necessarily, we don't do that. Like we're like, well, I'm good. If you're struggling, I'll try to do something for you, maybe. Probably not. hugs and prayers, right? That's
Yeah.
like the text that you get all the time, like, oh, we're struggling, hopes and prayers. The horses they
Yeah.
don't do that. They're like, oh, I'm struggling. Well, let me pick you up. Let me make you let me help you get to the next point. Let me make sure that you're feeling good or that you're better. If you're not, let me sit with you and make sure that you're getting better. So that's
Yeah.
the difference between that. So I like to show people, like, if you're working and you want to have a good balanced life, um, you go and you help people. You make sure that they're okay, no matter what your stature is. Like, you could be, a multimillionaire, or you can make, 16 bucks an hour, whatever. If you're making sure those people are still okay, anybody needs to, like, is struggling, you're making sure they're okay. I'm not saying you have to put yourself out and, hurt, like, make yourself struggle or anything like that, but, you know, um, just making sure everybody's, like, in the right spot. Like, we're all looking out for each other. That's what horses do. They're all looking out for each other all the time. And,
Yeah.
I think we kind of lose that. And that's what I've seen. That's what's brought me back to a lot of my own self-healing is, um, knowing that I need to look out for everybody else, as well as looking out for myself. And, but I don't, maybe I'm just rambling, but sorry.
Yeah. No, it is very interesting, and I think you're right with like the herd dynamics,
Yeah.
whether that's a wild herd or just, I'm just thinking about my 4 horses, how they
Right.
each very clearly have a role and have an identity in that role, and you're right that they do look out for each other. They also, get annoyed with each other and,
Oh yeah.
they'll
Of
kick
course.
out when someone's bugging them or when they think
Right.
someone's in their spot. But I think that you're right that as humans, we add a lot of complexity and emotion.
Yeah.
And instead of simply accepting that we can all be part of the solution, all add good in the world, we spend a lot of time just doubting ourselves and where we should be and what we should be doing. And so, I agree that there is a simplicity that the horses help us strip away and maybe move out of that complexity, even for just a little bit. I don't know that it always
Right.
lasts indefinitely, but gives us that reprieve at least
Right.
for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even like, with horses, it's not indefinite, but everybody's looking, like, striving to be on the top. So, but well, with the mental health, and like going to, like, I know you want to talk, Nate, also about the veterans and stuff too, right? And, like,
Yeah, definitely.
they're yeah, and they're like, the way that they're working with the horses and stuff too, it is that whole, like, teamwork and that dynamic. I think the same thing. So when you're in the military or whatever, like, it's you have that same dynamic as you do in the horse world, right? You have that whole hierarchy of things, and everybody's looking out for one another. And but once you get out, um, it's not
Mm,
there anymore. Like,
yeah,
it's lost. Like, you
stripped
don't,
away.
yeah,
Hmm.
you have nothing to help you with anything. And I think with having veterans, like, especially struggling with anything, or even if they're not struggling, but getting back into that world where there is that hierarchy, there is that dynamic of, like, you're helping this person do this, like, horses, whatever. I think it's a really important thing to do afterwards, to get reacclimated into even basic society.
Yeah. And I have seen that with a lot of people that I've talked to who have started working with the horses, where it did again give them that sense of purpose and community that are a lot of things that,
Yeah,
they leave the military and it's gone. It's not a slow transition. It's not that they are given a path into life. It's just like, all right,
right.
boom, you're done. Here you go. Go back to the life that's been going on without you for the last however many years and good luck.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I think this program, I think, is a really good um step for that. And
Yeah.
I really hope a lot more, like, I hope a lot of veterans start taking advantage of that. I'm not sure how many are taking advantage of it now.
Yeah,
I think it's
certainly not as many as we could have for sure.
right. Yes, I think it goes more towards, like, I think it's a lot of, like, autistic mental health, like that. is like that group is taking more of advantage of it, which is fantastic because I think they also need to have all that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I've seen a lot of people in that that social group have huge benefits, which is fantastic. Because otherwise they're just, you know, I think they'd just be neglected or not have any kind of like structure for things. Um, because they see that same thing, like, you know, it's that same dynamic. Like you have that structure, like for, you know, to take care of, we're going to be nurturing, like that nurturing, you know, and embodiment of things. But with the veterans, I I'd like to see them take or be shown that they can take more of initiative and more advantage of that. Um,
Yeah. Hopefully,
because
hopefully that's what
yes,
we're doing, right?
right,
Yeah.
right, yes, yeah,
Um, when you started working with the horses, was that
yeah.
those changes and those insights that you began to have, was that something that came right away, or was it over time a process and kind of more of an unfolding step by
Um,
step thing?
it was definitely an unfolding step by step thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so first starting with Rose, and then getting like, and then starting. I took the courses and got through all of that, and started working with horses more and more. Um, Me working with them and like and sharing space with them and knowing how to position myself so they're like and basically like speak their language, so I can position my body and stuff and my energy and things like that with them to be more like beneficial for them, beneficial for myself. uh I felt myself like releasing more or like or feeling like more, hard to say, like more free with it, um within myself, like the anxieties, the fears, the like the traumas and stuff. Even like dealing with addiction, like that was like I wasn't thinking about it. Like working them, I didn't
Mm.
think about it at all
Wow.
ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but you know, and I wouldn't think about it for like even days after. So, which was kind of weird to me at the same time because I'd be like, well, I haven't thought about that in like, you know, 4 or 5 days. And then I'd be back at the bar and I'd be doing it again and I'd think about it again and I'd think about it again. And I just, you know, and I've done a lot of different things. Like I've done boxing and I've done, you know, running and I've done, you know, like, you know, working like a bunch of different things to do stuff, to try to like with work through addiction stuff to preoccupy my mind. Um, but with working with horses, it was just, I don't know, there's just something about it. But I didn't even have to think about it. It was just wasn't there anymore. It's just,
Wow.
I was just like free from it, completely free from it. So
Yeah, that's incredible. I don't know that I've heard stories like that before, but would you say the horses helped you to like move past addiction, overcome it?
yeah, I think they're helping me move past it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll never say like somebody who has any kind of addiction to anything will like, because you can't be totally free of it. Like there's plenty of people that are, but I wouldn't want to say to somebody, "Oh, you're going to do this and you'll be completely free from addiction." You know,
Yeah.
don't worry
You're
about it.
cured per
Yeah,
se or
yeah,
something.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Just work with horses every day, you'll be fine. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to be able to
Be
say
great
that.
if it was that simple, right?
Yeah, dude,
Be a perfect
absolutely,
place for the horses and help lots of people.
absolutely. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's been, you know, there are days that are great, days that are not, days that like there's more of a release of things, more days like there's some days that are, you know, you know, you go through stuff like you just didn't have that connection at the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's the same as anything. But
Yeah.
you go through it, you know, you go through it day by day, and you just, you know, like, well, tomorrow's another day, and then you
Yeah.
just keep going. So,
Yeah, and I think that's really the reality of life.
yeah,
It's like
right,
we think that we're going to reach some pinnacle where we have it all figured out and life's going to be smooth sailing from there on out. But the reality is that bumpy waters are going to come in whatever form, might
yeah,
be present in your life. And for me, the horses are a place where it's like, oh, you can go get a little reprieve, reset, kind of start
Right.
again, get
Yep.
back on track, that type of thing.
Yeah. Like even if they're not, even if the horses are, if you want them, because I mean, there was a day last week. I get up to, tacked up everything, get up to ride, and he was like, "Nope, I don't want to ride."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Go, come on, let's go." Like, "Nope." I'm like, "All right, guess we're not doing this," because either I wasn't in the right spot for it, or he was just like, "I'm not feeling it." But I think it was more me not being in the right frame of mind, or like right in the, like
Mm.
energetically in the right spot. And he was like, "Well, we could do this, but you're a jerk, so I don't want to really ride with you right now,"
Yeah.
which is okay, which is fine. That's, I'd rather, because horses are 100% honest all the time. Like they'll never,
Mm.
they, I would say like, horses will never intentionally hurt you. They hurt you, or when you're not listening to them. Because if you're not listening, like if you're not, because not just not listening, but listening to him and being pushy about it. Because there's been definitely times when that's happened where I think like, well, we need to do this, and they're like, well, no, I don't want to. Like, well, I need you to do this. I'm like, we're not going to do it, and like I'll like put my shoulder out or something like that. I know there's this one time I was worked on a bunch of horses out in the field, and was done like working on this horse, and they just like pat her on the butt, like to send her down to the barn, and I turned my back to her and got kicked. I like,
Oh no.
yeah, I was like, "Well, that was my fault," because it was completely my fault. Wasn't paying attention. I knew I shouldn't have done it, and I was just tired, and
Uh-huh.
wasn't paying attention. It was just like, she's like, "Well, you're not paying attention, so here's your smack in the butt."
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's so interesting because it's really easy, and I think a strategy that a lot of us use to deflect blame, and
yeah,
especially with horses,
mm,
that was the horse's fault. They shouldn't have done that. They should know
right,
better,
yeah,
whatever that might be. But if we can turn that narrative around and look at ourselves, certainly a lesson for life. What role did I have and how that experience played out?
right,
That provides us with insights so we can move forward in a better way.
yeah, absolutely. Because like most of the time when, like, especially like working with riders and stuff, they're like, "Oh, my horse isn't listening. My horse isn't doing this." I'm like, "Well, it's not the horse that's not listening. It's you
Mm,
that's not listening." Isn't most of the time, like 90% of the time, it's not the horse, it's the rider.
yeah.
Because in life is the same thing. It's not life that's not listening to you. It's you're not
Yeah.
listening to life. So it's the same kind of thing. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah,
Talk a little bit about, so you do massage therapy, you work
yes,
uh like with the body, physical tension.
yep.
What role have you seen that plays with like emotional struggles and things in that area? Have you seen a connection there?
With people or horses or myself or
Yeah, both, any, all of the above.
okay. Yeah. So physical restrictions are usually because things are bound up in the body. Whether it be through trauma or like car accident, like, for a person, or if a horse falls or gets like stuck in mud, or if you have any kind of emotional trauma, say like your parents were abusive or whatever, or you had some kind of other trauma in your life. It's all held within the muscle. So we're releasing that muscle, releasing that area, that tension. You're releasing that emotional um, boundness to that area as well. So when you release that, for a person, they may cry, may laugh, may start swearing or be like violent, like outbursts and stuff, and something like that.
Yeah, some kind of
Um,
release.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but it also might just be like the muscle shivers and then lets go.
Mm,
With the horse, it's the same thing. Um, but with a horse, you're standing up. They're always standing. Like there's very seldom a time you're working a horse when they're laying down. And if they are laying down
mm-hmm,
doing it, you better be sure you know what you're doing. Because if they
mm,
decide to get up, either like one of you is getting hurt. if you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
So when they're standing up, so like releasing their shoulder, releasing like any part of like their body, like their back, hip, like working down into like, into their like lower back, uh, going down like through even like the midline, like withers, all that, like all those places that can have trauma from saddles, or like, or, not having the girth pulled in the right spot, or like being kicked too much with, with spurs, or take, having a really muddy area that they're running around in, or they're out in the field and they get into a little bit of a tiff with another horse. Like all these things, can cause, muscle trauma in certain areas. So when you're releasing that, that stuff's going to come back out again. And you kind of got to really pay attention to the way the horse is moving. Um, and I really, really prefer not to work with horses that are tied up. Because once they're tied, I can't move them. I can't see what's going on with them or anything like that. And if I hit a spot and they're tied up and they rear up or they do something, one of us is getting put into, like I'm getting put into a
Mm,
wall, or they're going to hurt themselves. And so
yeah.
I'd rather not be put into a wall. I'd be like, if I'm in out in the field, um, if they push up, back up, I'm just falling to the grass and I'm fine. Uh, Much rather have that happen to me than be put into a wall. Um, but when that emotional release comes up, you have to follow it. Like that's what I do. So like if I'm working, and there's some videos that I have on my site too, where it shows I'm working and moving with the horse. I'm always
Hmm.
moving and working with the horse. So I might have like my elbow in a certain area, or might have like reaching underneath the leg and holding the leg tight to me and having them move and like put my shoulder into it, or like doing stretches with them. That's all releasing those areas of trauma or resistance, or whatever it may be, to get them to function better. I mean, you can do a lot of horse massage, and you can do like the whole, like, you're going through every muscle and you're doing like the light strokes and you're doing the whole thing. And working in the human massage world, you can do that too for a massage. Like you can go get your, I hate to say it, like your fluffy massage, right?
Hmm.
Like we're like, oh, I feel no, oh, I'm so nice and relaxed now. But if you come in and if you came and said, oh, well, my shoulder's hurting me and my low back, and I have like this hip problem over here. I'd really like to have those worked on, and I'm just giving you like a fluffy massage. You're like, oh, I think that's great, but what the hell did you do for me? Right? So same with the horse. Like if I'm just doing like going through like the regular, effleurage massage for a horse. They might feel relaxed, but they've had no real release from trauma. And what
Mm.
I do is I release the horse from trauma. Like my point all the time is to release the horse from trauma. They get them so they're functioning. They get them so they're not in pain anymore. That's my main purpose in working with them, and working with people too, like for the riders, working with farriers who are in like terrible body positions all day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like that's my purpose with everything that I do for massage, and like even doing energy work or anything like that. Like it's all getting so who's everybody, human or horse, um, is functioning in their best capacity all of the time.
Have you seen when they experience that release, either horses or human, does that also change their mental state from what you can tell?
Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, if you're bound up, like if you're like, say, I'm sure you've had injuries before, and
Yeah.
like, yeah, yeah. So like if you have, say, like what was some like injury you've had lately?
I think I messed up my meniscus in my knee playing volleyball.
All right, all right. So that kind of messed you up a little bit mentally too, right? Because you could go out and play volleyball. You
Yeah.
can't do a lot of different things. You can't ride your bike. You can't go on the treadmill. You can't, like, it really limits the amount of stuff you can do. But to have that released, to have that taken care of, even if, like, God forbid, the surgery stuff, but you can also, like, get that stuff released manually and healed through herbs and stuff. So, like, I would say, like, you and comfrey and stuff like that to really, like, heal up those tendons and ligaments, um, which is a whole probably another discussion. But
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I should have
yeah,
come to you.
right. But mentally, you're like, geez, I can't do this anymore. What? Like, so frustrated, right? So
Yeah.
they can't do
And
this
even
anymore.
more subconsciously, maybe being afraid of getting hurt again.
Yeah, of course. But that's the same way the horse is doing. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
like, this is like, my stiff horse, right? So, why can't I'm like not gonna walk the right way now? Like, now my canter's wrong. Like, now all, like, my hips are moving wrong. My pelvis is not really
Yeah.
moving the way, like, I don't have the swagger, right? I always call, like, the horses have this sort of swagger to them, and when they're injured, they don't. They work. They're like staunch.
Locked up.
Yeah, that's not, like, they should have this, swagger, like that 1970, swagger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they should, but with if a horse is in pain, it's going to have that mental state where it's just going to be frustrated and it's in pain, and it's going to act out, and it's going to start biting, it's going to start, kicking out, it's going to start doing all this sort of stuff that you don't want it to do. And it's not that it's the horse's fault. Is that we're not listening to what the horse is telling us now. Because when your meniscus was hurt, you went and told your doctor, "Oh, I think my knee hurts. What's going on?" And they told you what's happening. A horse is having something happening. It can't say, "Hey, my meniscus hurts.
Yeah.
What can you do for me?" It's going to act out, and then you have to figure out what's going on with it. You have to literally, like, listen to them, watch their language, listen, like, and I say, like, listen because it's just an easier thing to say, but you have to, like, watch all of their mannerisms, look at what they're doing, everything that they're doing, like talking to the other horses, talking to you when you're doing things. Like, that's what I mean by listening. It's not just like, you're not, because they're not telling you anything. You have to visually and energetically pay attention to what the horse is doing. Otherwise, you're not going to figure that out. And I find that in the same way as people who are like not able to express themselves verbally or mentally, like in the human world too, like working with, like, autistic kids, or or people who have or or have Down syndrome, or like veterans who are, like, completely closed off to any kind of talk, whatever. It's not
Yeah.
that you have to listen to their words. Watch what they're doing,
Mm.
especially with the veterans. Watch what they're doing, and it'll tell you what they need. Same as the
Mm-hmm.
horses. If you watch what they're
Yeah.
doing, they'll tell you what they need. And that's, I think, what a lot of people in our field, uh, not to say that they don't do it, but I think that we need to be more aware of that, of looking at what the mannerisms are of not just the people that we're working with, but also, like, in the horses that we're, but in both of them as a whole. Because if you're working with a horse and a person at the same time, like, if I'm working with, like, a veteran and like, I'll say a Mustang that's been, pulled in and been is going through training and doing all this other stuff, and they're
Yeah.
both kind of working
Huge
this,
life
like,
change.
together,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But if they're both working in that same genre, like in the same area together, or working together, if you're not paying attention, or if they're not paying attention to what each other are doing, then there could be like a lot of miscommunication going on.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
and that's something, like, you really got to pay attention, like, because it could be like, the twitch of an ear, or like the turn of a head for a horse. Like, it's like, or like, a flutter in the back end. There's all these little things, the switch of a tail, all these little things tell you what they're feeling. And it seems a person, like, it could be like, the blinking out of their eyes, like how they like move their head when you're talking about a certain thing, how they hold their hands, how they cross their legs, when you're talking to them, where their eyes go. Like all these little things tell you what's going on. And if we're not paying attention to that stuff, we're not doing them justice with what we want to do in this industry. I think we're not in this industry, like what we're doing, like with the mental health
Yeah.
and the horses and stuff. I think it's like really, really need to start paying attention to like the little subtleties of everything in life and people's mannerisms anyway. So
Yeah, and I think we've lost a lot of that to where we do just rely on people's
yeah,
words and what they say, and we like to think that gives us all the information we need, but it is really
right,
quite limited, even though theoretically I could tell you exactly what I
right,
needed to communicate with you, but that may
yeah,
not always be the case.
right,
And I think it's so interesting just the interplay between like the mental, emotional, physical, and even talking about horses, how that can encompass all of that. Because a lot of times when someone has an issue, a lot of times we'll put it in a little compartment and that's where you go to fix it.
right.
And it seems like, and maybe you've had experience with this, that a lot of times it is something that hits all those different areas, that impacts those different areas, even onto like, social life and friends and family.
Very true. Like, yeah. So like all the aspects of everything, like, like, I think social media is one of the biggest downfalls of our society now because everybody thinks that our lives always have to be a certain way. It's all perfect and everything's like
Yeah,
la di da's and or it's either like super perfect or like super terrible, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I don't find social media in itself because
yeah.
it can be used
It's
really well.
tricky,
Like we're
right?
like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's like we're doing now. It's like very, very, very good, right? So we're for
right.
education and stuff like that. But when it's used to um, make people feel awful,
Yeah, or even
because
skew our reality.
yeah, absolutely. Because like we can be talking now, like, oh, well, I looked on so and so's page the other day, and they had, you know, all this stuff going on, but in reality, they had nothing.
W- What has motivated you to be part of this Horses for Mental Health campaign and to work towards spreading the awareness of this
Ugh,
idea that horses can help us in our mental lives?
like it's like a huge amount of things. Um, Struggling with mental health, like, well, say mental health and addiction, myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a huge part of it. And then being, friends with, Dave and Kathy, that didn't
Mm-hmm.
hurt. Uh, and then getting involved, with horses again and seeing the impact that they have had on my life with what I'm like, well, I started with alcohol, first of all. And that took a toll on myself and family and everything. So like it would. Um, but then getting involved with the horses, like I didn't have, like I said, was saying, I didn't have any want or need for that kind of distraction because that's all
Hmm.
it is, right? Addiction is just a distraction from reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things you don't want to deal with, things that you want to, just like that.
A way to escape.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, I had a
Yeah.
tough day. I'm gonna have a glass of wine, right? But
Yeah.
if it's an everyday thing, like every time you have a hard day, you're doing that. Then you need to really kind of, in my opinion, you kind of need to look at that. Not that anybody who does that has addiction problems or whatever like that, but you might want to look at that. But anyway, working with horses, when I was like in recovery, like as I am in recovery for that, um,
Hmm.
I don't, like I said, I don't have a want or a need or a desire for any of it. Like there's times when, yes, I have a bad day and I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm, can't deal with stuff like everybody
Yeah.
has. Um,
Emotions from life.
right, right. But when I'm with the horses, when I'm in like the, you know, in the paddock or out in the pastures with them, I don't have to be necessarily having hands on the horses when I'm there.
Yeah.
You can just be like, sitting there in that area or standing there and just like watching them and just in doing whatever. Um, it just, this calmness kind of just comes over you. Um, or for myself anyway, where like, you know what? Life's not that hard. Life's not that frustrating. It's really kind of simple. And I no longer feel like I need to have that escape from like the stresses of things, because the stresses are always going to be there, you
Yeah.
know, but you don't have to really pay attention to them. If we pay attention to the stresses, that's when we have our biggest, I think, our biggest downfalls for things. It's like we're paying attention to stress all the time. Yeah, just basically like hanging out with them is
Yeah.
the biggest thing for me with that.
You kind of mentioned a lot of reason we get into addiction, and I think that there's all kinds, and probably most of us probably have
Right,
some
right,
aspects, elements of some kind.
right,
And a lot of times, like we talked about, that's almost an escape from your life, a moment to just check out of
right.
the things that are hard and difficult. Do you feel like with the horses, they gave you almost that same kind of escape, except in a healthy way where you're not, maybe damage isn't following in the wake?
Well, yeah, it's good because you can have like your like healthy addictions, right? Which would be like going off the horses and or like say like surfing or doing something that's not destructive to your body, right?
Yeah.
Or you can do stuff that is destructive to your body, like excessive drinking or doing drugs or or you know physically abusing yourself, like whatever those things are. Um, there are definitely two aspects of of that. There are healthy things to do for ourselves, and there are unhealthy things to do for ourselves. And I think working with the horses and stuff, I think that's a really healthy thing to do because you're not being destructive to yourself. You're not being destructive to anybody else or anything else. And if you are going out working with horses and you're being abusive and destructive to them, you might want to look into something else.
Yeah.
Or find somebody who can actually help you in that capacity. Because then if you're doing that, then you have more that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And then you find your mental health, um, person to help you through that, which I think is also great too. But that this program is there too because it's not just about like going out like hanging out with horses. It's about dealing with your traumas and your addictions and your like and you're like basically like you're dealing with your shit.
Yeah.
Um, because we all have it. We all have
Yeah.
like a big pile of crap in front of us that we never deal with, and I think this is a great way to deal with that crap.
Yeah. And I think the
Yeah.
horses can really help us gain those insights to the things that we need
Yeah.
to address.
Absolutely, they could do a mucka stall, right?
Yeah, I know. One of the best places for some life insights, that's for sure. I was actually just
Absolutely,
thinking that today, like, when life gets a little crazy, maybe I just need to go clean the horse corral.
right, right.
Yeah. 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 To wrap up, tell everybody
Yeah.
where they can find you, what services you might offer that people can utilize.
Intuitive wellness, um, on Facebook. Um, at Facebook and Instagram. I think I shared the links with you to be able to post
Yeah.
up afterwards.
And we'll include those in the
Yeah.
notes for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, yeah, I really work with, everybody in every capacity. So if you need, you know, like energetic healing to physical healing to, you want to get involved in working with, with horses or like either with learning how to do massage with them or how to do like, uh, just like bonding with them to get yourself there. Like, yeah, you can like do a lot of different things. It's hard to say exactly, like pinpoint exactly what I do with stuff, but like I am there for anybody who needs what they need.
So you do, which I don't think we touched on, you do also do a couple of other methods, modalities. Do you want to talk about those at all?
Like the Qi Gong and the and so
Yeah,
Qigong is
I
the
pronounce
yeah
them all wrong, so I
yeah
was just gonna let you
yeah.
say them.
No, it's okay. So Qigong is a method of gathering energy for healing, for yourself and for anything or anybody that you need to bring it to, mostly for your own inner healing. And I think it's a really good way to start with things, especially when you're looking to work with animals who have a really high energy output, like horses. And then I also like it's called Qigong, and then Wuji. Wuji is the same method but with movement.
Mhm.
So you'd actually literally walk through the pasture doing these, energetic cultivation movements to just up, and you'd be amazed, like the horses will just come to you because they just want to they want to be around that. So
Yeah.
it's just a really cool thing to experience. And then and then the isolated stretching is just is finding like what parts of the body aren't moving correctly for you, and then getting to move correctly. It's the same thing I do with the horses. Like I find what muscles like our joints aren't moving correctly, and then do stretching for those specific joints to get them to move
Mm.
correctly, so that they have a
Mhm.
better and high quality function in their bodies.
It's interesting. I see so many correlations just between like the mental and the physical, how, releasing your body and kind of getting out of that stuck state
Yeah,
is so beneficial. And if not, it will pile up and add up and make things more difficult. And the same thing with just our emotional, mental lives, how if we can kind of release that, find, do those mental stretches and healing and be aware of that, it's a domino effect, and certainly goes also into our relationship with our horses that, um, they can feel our energy, they can feel where we're at, and so the more that we can do to help ourselves, certainly the better those relationships are gonna be as well.
absolutely. Yeah, because if your hips aren't moving well when you're riding, neither do your horses. So, and then nothing's really, working well together. Like it is simplistic, you know,
Yeah,
explanation for that. So, everything needs to move together, and
yeah.
that's everything in life. Everything needs to move together.
That's a great message to end with, and just that movement and that release and addressing those things where we're stuck are healing and will help us to move forward. And
Yeah,
so, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your stories, especially your personal stories and how horses have helped you. I do think those are some of the most impactful because, we can look at statistics and the different things we're seeing, and maybe we don't even have statistics because there's certainly plenty of research left to be done. But to hear the stories about how horses are legitimately changing and helping people in their lives, I think is very powerful because it's something you and I have both experienced in,
yes.
important areas of our life. And so thank you for sharing that, for the work you do for the horses and humans. And sounds like you're doing great work. I feel like after this, I'm like, oh, I feel like I need a massage. My shoulders are so tense. Um, but yeah, thank you for being here and
Well, thank
for
you. I
willing to
appreciate
come
it.
on and talk about it all.
Thank you for joining us and learning about horses that heal and the humans who help them. We hope you'll continue with us on this journey. We'd love for you to subscribe on your favorite platform and follow The Touch of a Mustang on any of the major social media outlets. Please share with your friends, anyone who loves horses, or anyone who might be struggling and could benefit from this message. If you have felt the healing power of horses or help them in their divinely appointed mission, please reach out. We want to hear your story. As we say goodbye, always remember that the horse is always there to help you heal.